The Realm of the Sea Emperor structure deck was released on October 16, 2012. While this structure deck didn't make an immediate competitive splash, Atlantean's Dragoon, Marksman, and Heavy Infantry would help a future archetype make waves. Abyss Rising was released November 3rd, 2012, and in tandem with the Atlanteans would send a tidal wave through the established metagame. In this series, both MBT and myself will be traversing the sands of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Each episode will take a deep dive into Yu-Gi-Oh's past formats and unlock new strategies as new sets become available. Strap yourselves in because anything is possible. Welcome to the history of Yu-Gi-Oh!
You know, kicking Joseph's butt on a weekly basis makes me hungrier than all of those excited MBT patrons. So, for today's video sponsored by HelloFresh, we're gonna be cooking up some bavette steak with shallot sauce.
Many of you may not know this, but I actually love cooking. It's a great way to share in some of life's most precious and quality experiences with friends and family. But I realize that many people don't have the time to dedicate to making a home-cooked meal on a daily basis. I mean, that was me when I worked my 40-hour-a-week job, and that's where HelloFresh can help.
We have everything we need to make dinner, and they even give you this nice little menu card, which I know 90% of you can't read because you're Yu-Gi-Oh players.
HelloFresh has dozens of simple recipes with pre-portioned ingredients to keep things simple and quick. The recipes change weekly, and they even accommodate special dietary restrictions as well. I personally don't eat gluten, and I was shocked with how many gluten-free options were actually available. Click the link down in the description or go to HelloFresh.com and use code POGCIMO16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts across 6 HelloFresh boxes plus free shipping.
Well, that was Wind Up. I hope that didn't look like a completely pathetic pub stomp. I mean, it was, but I hope it didn't look that way. Cimo and I are taking painstaking efforts in order to recreate some interesting matches for you that hopefully are engaging, but I'll just be honest with you, they're not exactly representative of the format. Realistically, any of the monster combo decks we've played in the last couple of episodes, be they Lancer Frog, Hieratic, or the 2 decks that we're playing today, were easy pickings for Wind Up. Shocklock was the elephant in the room, and if you were playing a deck like the one you see on screen in front of you, you could expect that you might be losing a ton of games to a detach and a number 16 calling monster. Anyway, this is Chaos Dragon. This is Stefan Bizel's top 32 list from YCS Providence, an event that we've already covered. We're being a little bit anachronistic here in order to show off all the decks that were viable in this format. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, isn't Chaos Dragon dead? I thought they banned Future Fusion. And while that is true, the deck is still alive in some capacity. While it doesn't put up a lot of tops, it is around, at tables, and taking names occasionally. While you can no longer send dragons from your deck to the graveyard in a targeted way with Future Fusion, you can always get a little bit lucky using the Lightsworn monsters, a series of monsters that we haven't had a good look at since they were last very popular in Edison format. Here they're not being used for wolf setups, they're being used as a mill enabler for really, really powerful light and dark monsters. So with that, let's get into the card by card. We've got 2 Maxi, 2 Effect Veiler, 2 Tragodia. Tragodia becomes exceptionally popular during this period, not only because it's a great way to preserve your life total without committing to back row that can be popped, but it is also a monster that can clone the level of a monster in the graveyard and set up some really sick Xyz plays. We've got 1 copy of Gorz the Emissary of Darkness, 1 copy of Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, and it's arguable if this is a better or worse card than Chaos Sorcerer at this time. That's because Chaos Sorcerer is level 6, and as a result can be overlaid into Photon Strike Bouncer using itself, or a Light Pulsar Dragon, or a Tragodia. After that, we've got a copy of Dimensional Alchemist. I don't love this card, but understand why they're playing it. And then the dragons, 1 DMD, 1 Dad, triple Dark Flare Dragon, triple Light Pulsar Dragon. Now, these all require a light and a dark, as do the Chaos monsters, and there actually aren't very many darks in the deck. The deck is exceptionally dark light on purpose because you are aiming to always keep the number low for Dad, but it can get you into hot water if you draw too many of these. Eclipse Wyvern is a fantastic card if it's sent to the graveyard by any means, discarded for cost, milled randomly. You can banish a level 7 or higher light or dark dragon type monster from your deck. When it's banished, you can add that monster back to your hand, and of course you're always getting Dark Arm Dragon or Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Dad if you want to wipe the board, DMD if you are looking to extend further. Next we've got some normals, Card Trooper, triple Lila, and triple Raikou. Lila is very good during this format. Mirror Force is back at 2, and for that reason you have to start sniping back row. People are packing it in order to beat cards cards like Shockmaster if they're called off monster, and for that reason, she is a necessary inclusion. Finally, we've got the TGU package, 2 TGU, a Sangan, and a Night Assailant. For spells, we're on Allure of Darkness, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, double MST, 1 Charge of the Light Brigade, still limited this card, and triple Solar Recharge. On the side, we've got Gemini Imps. I hope we do not have to show you why these cards were included in sideboards, but stay tuned. 1 Maxi, double Thunder King Ryo, 1 Mystical Space Typhoon, double Prohibition, double Soul Taker, double Compulsory Evacuation Device, double Royal Decree. In the extra, we've got a couple of synchros that we can make off of Effect Veiler, and then 5s in Ardreas, 7s in Gaia Dragon, which we can overlay onto 6s like in Zector Exabeetle. Nothing in here is really particularly out of the ordinary except for Photon Strike Bouncer, one of the early extra deck negate monsters. Outside of that, I will see you in games.
So usually this is where I make some sort of snarky remark about how I'm in the shirt of shame, but honestly, A, after last episode, I probably deserve it, and B, this actually is quite fitting with the deck that I'm playing. I look like I'm on a beach in Cancun sipping a tequila sunrise, but we are now in Abyss Rising, ladies and gentlemen, and Mermail has officially entered the meta, and this deck definitely made a competitive splash. Now, a lot of you who may be familiar with modern Mermail would be interested to see the roots of this deck because it actually underwent several different iterations. This was the first Abyss Rising variant, and not too far off in the future when Cosmo Blazers released the next core set, it actually looks substantially different because we get a lot more support cards for the archetype, and the deck functions a little bit differently. Right now, it's sort of, again, this like combo control deck because it isn't really as explosive until we get to the Cosmo Blazer era. Once we get cards like Teus, Gund becomes a lot more easier to actually facilitate. Rank 7s become a much larger focus of the deck, where right now the deck is able to go off, but it does still play a heavy control game as well. So this is Mermail, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and do the card by card. So first up, we have the Atlanteans. Now, the Atlanteans were actually released in a structure deck that was released not too far off from around this time in the timeline. We're in about November 2012 at this point, and the structure deck was released a few months prior, introducing the Atlanteans, Dragoons, Heavy Infantry, and Marksmen. Now, each of the Atlanteans has an effect that if they are sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, they will activate and do something. So Dragoons actually allows you to add a Sea Serpent monster from deck to hand, Heavy Infantry allows you to target a face-up card on the field and destroy it, and Marksman does the same but for face downs. And they each also have a respective effect while they're on the field. Dragoons allows all your level 3 or lower Sea Serpents to attack directly, Heavy Infantry is actually a double summon for Sea Serpents, and Marksman actually allows you to special summon a level 4 or lower Atlantean when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent. All these effects are pretty relevant. The double summon's good because Diva is actually a Sea Serpent as well, so you can actually get the effect there, and Marksman being able to do damage to summon out a Dragoons is pretty good just for board presence, but we're primarily going to be discarding these for the effects of some of our Mermail monsters. Let's move on to Diva. Diva is obviously like one of the best water monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh!, so it's really no surprise to see this card here at 3. We also have 3 copies of Genix Undyne. This card is absurd. Now, as a cost, when this card is normal summon, you can send a water monster from deck to grave. Remember, that's the cost, so your opponent cannot negate this with something like Effect Veiler or Skill Drain. We can send Atlantean Dragoons to the graveyard as cost to then add a Genix controller from deck to hand. Now, Genix controller isn't particularly good. The only good things about it is that it's a level 3 tuner, and it's also a dark, but honestly, we don't really care because Undyne is a +2 on activation, because not only do we get to add the controller to our hand, this will trigger Dragoons because it's being sent to the graveyard to trigger a water monster's effect. That means we get to add a Sea Serpent from deck to hand as well. So this just gets a lot of our plays going, so we can expect to see this a lot. We have the 1 Gores in here to ensure we don't die. Also being 7 kind of matters because we do have some rank 7 plays in this deck. 2 copies of Lind. So now we're entering the Mermail monsters here. I think this should be at 3, honestly, but I could also see why this is at 2 just because it's a bit of a bricky card because it sort of combos with another card in the deck being Abyss Sphere. When it's on the field and destroyed and sent to the grave, you actually just get to special a Mermail from deck, which is pretty crazy, but we're trying to combo off here, so this card is a little bit slow for what we're trying to do, but Abyss Sphere is where this changes that. You can special summon a Mermail from your deck. Its effects are negated. You can't activate any spell cards while Sphere is active, but when this card leaves the field, you destroy that monster, and destroy this card during your opponent's next end phase after activation. So what you want to do at the end of your opponent's main phase 2 when they're attempting to enter end phase is flip up Abyss Sphere to summon Lind, then in the end phase, Sphere will destroy itself, destroying the Lind, triggering Lind to summon either Pike or your Megalo. That will actually make it so that Pike's effect will trigger because it triggers on special summon. You can't just just summon Pike off of Sphere to get its effect because Sphere does in fact negate it. So it's sort of like a bridge to get to another Mermail, and so it's still a decent card, but something that you don't necessarily have to max out on. Players would choose to go between 2 and 3 on this. Then we have 3 copies of Megalo, which is something you definitely want to have 3 of, because Megalo is a house. You can discard 2 other water monsters to the grave to special summon this card from your hand. So if you pitch any of the Atlanteans, they will trigger their effects. And then when it's summoned this way, you can add an Abyss spell or trap from your deck to your hand, such as Abyss Sphere. Later on, they're going to add cards like Abyss Scale of the Mizuchi, but obviously that won't be for several years. Then Megalo can also tribute another attack position water monster, so it can get 2 attacks in the battle phase. So that means this can do 4,800 damage, and again, that will trigger the effects of your other monsters, such as your Atlantean. So that's pretty nice. Pike is our normal summon that allows us to just pitch a water monster to add a level 3 water monster from deck to hand. Our targets here include stuff like Marksman. We could get Lind if we wanted to as well. Undyne is probably one of the best ones we can get too, and later on there's going to be even more targets for us to grab off of Pike, but for now, that's really it for the Mermail lineup. Then we have Mooling Glacia, the Elemental Lord. A few episodes ago, we showed off Grand Soil in Joseph's Grand Soil Psychic decks. Mooling Glacia is a house. This can be summoned by having exactly 5 waters in the grave, and when it's special summoned, discard 2 random cards out of your opponent's hand. That's right, this is basically Delinquent Duo on a 2800 body. It does have the condition that if it leaves the field, you skip your next battle phase, but who cares? It's Delinquent Duo and it's legal. Then we have 2 Gen X Controller, just so we can make sure our Undynes are going to be live, and that's it for the monsters. For the spells, Allure of Darkness is solely in here for Controller, because you're always going to be getting this off of Undyne, so that way you can actually convert Controller into 2 new cards, or you can just use this card for a tuner, because we have a pretty robust Synchro package. Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Reborn, triple MST to take out opponent's back row, Pot of Avarice, double Salvage. I think you could probably cut this card to 1. I think it's a little bit bricky because you need to wait till like mid to late game to use this, but you get to add 2 water monsters from grave to hand that have 1500 or less attack. Great to refuel on a lot of our cards. Then for the traps, triple Abyss Sphere, double Solemn Warning, and double Torrential Tribute. For the extra deck, we have Catastor, Armory Arm, Black Rose, Duloran. Gungnir is a card we actually haven't seen too much of, but we will probably in this episode, because being able to pair this with something like Megalo to then go into Big Eye is a pretty nice combo, and there's a lot of ways for us to get to this. We have Mistworm in here as well, which is also pretty easy to summon. Scrap Dragon, Stardust, and Hyper Librarian. For the Xyz, we have a Dweller, a Daigusto Phoenix, which actually can just attack twice, so we can do 3000 damage with this. Fun fact, Stardust is a win, so we could actually use it on this if we wanted to as well. Gachi's in here as well as Big Eye, Leviathan Dragon. Fun fact, if you detach some of your Atlanteans for cost for the Leviathan Dragon, that will trigger their abilities, so not only will Leviathan be 2500, but you can pop a card in the process. That's pretty nice. And then 1 Acid Golem rounding out our extra. Then for the side, 1 copy of Air Orca. Now, this is a Wind Sea Serpent, so we can actually get this off Diva, because you can special summon a Sea Serpent from deck, and once per turn, you could banish a Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua monster, target a face-up card your opponent controls, destroy that target, then banish this card until your next standby phase. So this is just like a recurring threat that can be kind of annoying, and just can out some neat things. We have triple Maxi and 2 Trigodia in here for the very aggressive decks. Deck Dev is in here, as well as 2 copies of Gozen Match, 2 Royal Decree for obviously the back row matchups, 2 Shadow Imprisoning. I imagine this is for specifically Inzektor, but I guess it could cross over some other matchups like maybe Dark World as well, and 2 Skill Drain, because if we're playing up against decks that play very tiny monsters, we can just play big monster beatdown with stuff like Megalo and the like and feel pretty good about it. So guys, I can't wait to play this deck. This is a deck I have a ton of fun playing. I've only played it a few times in the past, but the times I have, I've had an absolute blast. So hopefully we can take the W, because we're in the shirt. The shirt fits the deck, and so I think that gives us an advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not make you wait any longer. It's time to duel. Buddy, I'm having a grand old time over here. You know, I may be in the shirt of shame, but this is like the proper attire if you're gonna play Mermail, right? Like, I'm just missing my hat, my umbrella, and my drink on the beach. You know, we're having some fun out here in the water, playing with some fish. How are you feeling, buddy? You're on Chaos Dragons, I believe, a deck that you didn't get to play before, but something that I think you're a little bit familiar with from when you used to play back in the day, if I'm not mistaken.
I never played Chaos Dragons, but I played against Chaos Dragons a number of times, and let me tell you, I think losing to it probably gives me some sort of insight about the deck. I'm hoping so. I'm really not particularly in the mood to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I just stopped playing the Master Duel Xyz event, so if you're doing anything other than doming yourself for 8,000, I don't know if I can win.
Yeah, Chaos Dragons do some Xyz summoning, though, right? You've got some plays up your
yeah,
schools.
we do.
My deck... my deck has like some Xyz plays, but like I don't think until like we get like Teus and stuff later, it like really gets into the Xyz plays. It's actually more synchro focused earlier on, which is fascinating.
Yeah. No, this deck radically changed when, you know, they removed the best cards from it. And it's now this, like, light-sworn sort of mill deck. But it does now have access to the extra deck. It does have some pretty interesting setups, and I do hope I get to show some of them off.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it then. Let's shout the patron. It is Cimoooooooo is MBT's spirit animal. Thank you so much for the support.
That's a little
got
too
the hands
normal.
up, buddy?
That's a little too normal for me. Nothing in there about bussies, nothing in there about, you know, shipping. Thank you for that one, patron. I really appreciate it. I've got the number up.
All right, I'm going to go with even.
Yep. I went for 10. I just went for 10. I had no reason to do so.
It's 10 is the number of stars on Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon. That's what you were thinking.
This deck just gets to play so many copies of that card. I think I've got 0.
It gets to play 1-0 short of that many copies, but
all right.
I'll go ahead and draw.
Yep.
Main one. Good luck, buddy. This opening hand isn't like too crazy. It's actually just going to be a T-set and pass. Over to you.
All right. Stand by main. Oh, gosh.
Yep.
Okay. So let's begin with an Allure of Darkness.
That seems pretty good.
But looks can be deceiving. I'm going to banish Darkfire Dragon. Oh my god, this deck is terrible. How did anyone play this? I'll pass turn, buddy. Go ahead.
Really?
Yep.
Nothing. Okay. Well,
nothing.
Obviously, you do have some. You could have like a Gorge. You could have like Trag. Like there is stuff like that in your deck. So,
right.
Okay. Let's see if there's anything we can do to capitalize on it. I'll draw. Boy, it doesn't look like it. Main one here. One thing that people may not know who might be familiar with like modern Atlanteans is that back in the day, like this deck used to be like sort of like a hybrid combo control deck where like as more sets got released and like added new support for Mermail, it got more and more aggressive. But like in the early stages when there's only like 3 playable Mermail cards, it's much slower and much less explosive by comparison.
Why don't you just normal summon Nept Abyss, dude? What's going on?
Yeah, let me normal summon the card that doesn't come out for like 4 years and just does everything you want for the deck. You know, silly me. How did I not think of that play? Wow, there's just like not much to do with my hand, if I'm being honest. I will flip summon Lind. I guess I'll go to battle and just swing for 15.
Yeah, fine. I mean, I'll Gores here.
I
got no qualms about losing Gores this way.
Sure. Second main, I'll just set one and throw it your way, buddy.
All right, stand by main. I'm going to normal summon Effect Veiler.
You've got some things you can cook up here. You can go into a Synchro 8 that also potentially sets you up for a Chaos play, which is a bit scary. I think I'm going to have to Torrential here to avoid you from going into Stardust.
I'll just let you know, you were dead if you didn't do that.
All right, good.
You were just dead. All right.
Okay. So I get to trigger Lind here now. So I'm going to get a Mermail. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a copy of Pike. This will trigger Pike's effect on special summon. I get to pitch a water monster, which I happen to have Dragoons in hand, and I get to add a level 3 water from my deck to my hand. So I'm actually going to grab a copy of Undyne here. And this also triggers Dragoon since I use that. So I'm just playing on your turn, buddy. Like, this is great. With Dragoons, I already have Undyne. So, like, I could add Diva, but that's, like, very greedy. I think instead I'm going to go with a copy of Heavy Infantry. And you may now continue your turn.
All right, I'll MST that back row.
All right, Fool. It was my MST.
All right, I'm going to banish a Light in the Dark.
All right, BLS?
Yep. All right, we'll go 1.
I take 14.
And then 2.
3K.
Oh, God, we're so close. Nope, back to you.
Okay. We'll draw. That's not bad. Okay, main 1. So I'm going to run out this Undyne.
Normal's fine.
Now, Undyne's a cool card because it sends for cost. So even if you have Veiler, the only thing you're Veilering is the ability to add Gen X Controller to hand. So I'm going to send a copy of Dragoons for cost here.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we're going to add the Controller. Next card in my deck, by the way.
Easy.
This will trigger Dragoons.
Sure.
I'm just going to add a Diva.
Sure. Seems pretty good.
I've already used my normal, so it's like pretty irrelevant. I'm going to pitch Heavy Infantry and Marksman for a Megalo.
Sure.
So we're going to have a chain link here. So chain 1, heavy infantry, I'm going to target BLS. And then chain link 2 is going to be the Megalo. I think Megalo has to be chain link 2 because I believe these are mandatory effects on the Atlanteans. They are. And Megalo is, in fact, a optional effect. Yes. So if you have Valor here, you can use it.
And I am going to.
Okay. And it wouldn't matter anyway because Valor doesn't care about the chain link anyway. So in any case, we'll just grab a copy of Sphere.
What's the Sphere off?
Oh, excuse me. You Valor. Never mind.
God,
I'm just all over the place this episode. Yeah, I'm just, just trying to cheat, buddy. You know, what can I say? All right. I'll just go to battle then. I'll hit you for 12 and 24.
And I will Gores. Just kidding. That'd be crazy, right? I don't think you can play 2 Gores.
That'd be nuts. And that's unfortunately going to do it from me. I was trying to Moulin you, but Moulin's a little bit hard when you have no gun to access.
Crusty for sure. I have so many cards off the top that kill you. That is not one of them. All right, it is Dark Hole.
Yikes. All right, sure.
This is so stupid. I'm literally just going to normal Eclipse Wyvern.
Sure,
there's no shot you're playing Gores. Yeah, let's just go in. All right, back to you.
We'll draw. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Can that kill you? Yeah, we'll give this a shot. I will Dark Hole as well.
Sure, yeah. I'll trigger Wyvern here.
Sure, go ahead and get your banish.
Unfortunately, I think I only have the 1 target. Now, back in the day, you know, I'd be able to get my my good pal here.
All right, old man.
Yeah, I got to get DMD. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to normal heavy infantry. I will use the ability here to get a Diva onto the field.
That's horrifying. Yep, that sounds
good. I will activate Diva.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm going to special summon Atlantean Marksman.
Yeah.
Battle. Diva for 2.
I'll take it.
14 for Marksman.
Yep.
Trigger Marksman.
That's fine.
Get a copy of Dragoons. And game?
I believe it is. Yep.
Wow.
Couldn't find the dark.
I did not think that was... oh my
All
god.
light. Oh, Valor is so bad against you. It is terrible. It's really not even remotely good.
Yeah, when all of your stuff triggers when you send it for cost, it's not great. I mean, you got some mileage off the Megalo, right? Couldn't attack you twice with that. Couldn't get the Abyss Sphere. Like, that was okay.
Stand by main. I'm going to activate Allure of Darkness.
Sure.
Oh, not again. Okay, Night Assailant here.
Ooh, interesting they're on Night Assailant.
Yeah, so this was actually something that was really funny during the time. You had to play a third thing for your 2 tour guides, and Night Assailant is, you know, he's not great, but there's an argument as to whether he's better or worse than the Sangan. And,
sure.
You know, depending on what decks you were scared of, sometimes he was better. I'll go Chargeable.
And it's like a Snowman Eater, right?
Yeah, it's like a really bad one. All right. Okay, that's a light and a dark. Okay, we are living.
It's a light and a dark, and I know you're down of Gores, so that feels good.
So we are going to grab a Raikou.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna set 1 card. Literally could be anything. This isn't even good against you because you have cards that pop set cards. But hey, I never claimed to be very good at this game. Back to you.
We'll draw. Ew. Main 1.
Yep.
I'm just going to set 1. They're to you.
Stand by main.
Well, the set card could be anything.
I will flip it. It's Raikou, and it is shocking.
Shocker. Right. All right, let's see what you're milling. There's a Dark Flare.
Not terrible.
I will chain Abyss Sphere.
Okay, that's fine.
So with this, I will get the Lind. Raikou pops Sphere, which pops Lind. And then Lind triggers here. We're going to grab ourselves either a Pike or a Megalo. I think I'm going to go for a Pike.
Sure.
Trigger the Pike. I'll pitch a Pike.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to add a heavy infantry. I cannot do that. It has to be level 3. Excuse me. So I will actually add Gen X Undyne.
Sure.
And you may proceed.
Okay, I'm on a normal card trooper.
Sure.
We'll go for 3 here.
It's fine.
Man.
Ooh, BLS is gone. That's good.
It's rough.
Couple lights and darks in there.
Yeah, we'll get rid of one of them. I'm going to banish the tour guide from the underworld, I guess the BLS, for Light Pulsar. I'll go to combat. 19.
Sure.
Then 225.
Take the 2. I'll take the 25, and then I've got Gores.
You do play Gores. Oh, no.
I was laughing when you said it. I'm like, all right, he's not going to play around it then. Excellent.
God. Oh, Christ alive. Okay, well, back to you, Buckaroo.
All right. We'll go ahead and draw. That's hilarious. Main one here. Let's go ahead and run out Undyne.
Yeah.
Use Undyne. 4 cost. I will send a Dragoons. Would you like to Veiler this?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, I figured. I'll get the controller. Trigger Dragoons. I'm going to grab a infantry off of this.
Sure.
Do you have Dark Flare? So if I kill Pulsar, you can get that back, which is slightly annoying. It's not like the end of the world, but yeah, I may as well go for some damage here. I'm going to pitch Infantry Undyne for a Megalo.
Sure.
So chain 1 infantry, chain 2 Megalo. Any response?
What's the target on infantry?
I'm going to go after... I think I'm going to go after Pulsar here, just to get that out of the way. So yeah, we'll go after Pulsar.
Sure. I'll effect Veiler the Megalo.
This card's never resolving. All right, so hit Pulsar. You get to trigger him.
I'm going to grab back the Darkfire.
So we can just try some cleanup duty here. I don't think I've got anything else cute I can do. That is actually not true. There is something cute I could do. Yeah, I'm down. Let's overlay.
Oh my God, they're both 7s. Oh,
They
Jesus.
are 7s.
Oh,
Let's make Big Eye.
Christ. Yup.
I'll take the Dark Flare. I should have just not even popped the Light Pulse, so I could have just taken him. All right, now let's go to battle. Let's go Undyne into Raiko.
Take 1,000 here.
Yeah.
How much is this?
Gore's token. Actually, I'll go Dark Flare into the Card Trooper.
2,000. I'll trigger Card Trooper.
All right, then token in. This is 25. This is lethal if you don't have anything here.
That's not lethal. It's close, though. I will take the 25. I do have Trag, but I don't know how much good it's going to do me.
Okay, I will... Oh, Big Eye can't attack. That kind of sucks, actually. All right, well, second main, I'll set 1 and throw it to you. I wasn't going to have lethal anyway.
All right,
I thought Big Eye was better. I'm disappointed. Yeah, that's
Oh, you thought he was better? Are you kidding me? Snatch Steal! Okay, Heavy Storm. That's always happening.
It's my warning.
Happy to see not Abyss Sphere. I didn't know you'd have punishes for Heavy. Jesus. All right, how do we want to do this?
Yeah, this, like I said, this deck plays like more control, so you actually play like traps that aren't sphere in this deck, which is weird.
So Tragodia is 18.
Correct.
25 on the token, and it's a level 7.
25 on the token.
I'm going to banish... Oh, there's a long combo line here. I just have to map out in my head. So first thing I'm going to do is Light Pulsar Dragon. We're going to send Eclipse Wyvern and Sangan to the graveyard.
Okay, bring him back from the grave.
We'll
Sure.
trigger the effect of the Eclipse Wyvern here. We are going to banish... you know, there's really only one guy we can get. How are we doing on Darks and Grave? 1, 2... Not enough for Dad.
1 off.
And we're 1 off in a way that we can't even Tragodia. Pulsar's is 6. That's so funny. All right, we're going to banish DMD.
Makes sense.
I swear to God, Dad is just in here as bait. He is legitimately just bait. Okay. We will banish the Wyvern and let's say the Veiler for Chaos Sork.
Sure. It's pretty good.
We will trigger the Wyvern here and grab DMD.
Sure.
Oh, I didn't think I'd get this far. Now what do? I can DMD into nothing. Ooh, that's epic. Wait, that's really good. We legitimately do not have another dragon in rotation.
Well, you did. You just summoned it out of the grave.
I'm aware. Oh, there's no way to do this. It was still better than getting Dad. Unfortunately, I will tell you this right now. It is still better than getting Dad.
That's pretty bad.
If this Big Eye was level 7 rather than rank 7, we could have gotten Dad, pitched it for Trag, and taken Big Eye. However, the levels are not ranks. Can I Tragodia at the start of this, targeting my Light Pulsar Dragon?
I don't know, Joseph. It could be pretty game determinative. Yeah, it's fine.
It could. I mean, you're not wrong. All right, we'll Sork the Big Eye.
Makes sense. He seems to be the biggest threat on the field.
Okay, we're going to overlay the level 6 Tragodia and the level 6 Sork for the... I mean, just a terrible card. Photon Strike Bouncer.
At first, when you didn't do that with Trag, I'm like, oh, good. He's not going to do any rank 6 plays. So,
this
yeah,
is the
fine.
only rank 6 in the game. I almost want to make Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon because it is larger than anything else. That is just so bad, but I do
Strike
not...
Bouncer is bigger than everything else, too.
I guess he is. So how do I worry about this? We can go Darkness Metal Dragon, banish the Light Pulsar Dragon, Metal Dragon into the Dark Flare, Bouncer into the token, DMD, target the Dark Flare, summon the Dark Flare, and then he's just chilling. He just sits on field. But that is better than the alternative, which is nothing. If I just had the Dark Flare in grave, then we would be so much better, but we don't. We can go Strike Bouncer into the Dark Flare. This is the line that actually blows up your entire field, so I'll do this. We'll go to combat. Bouncer into the Dark Flare.
I'll take 3 here.
Light Pulsar into the token.
Oh, we crash here. Oh, I see.
And then Light Pulsar summon back the Dark Flare, and then Dark Flare into the Undyne.
All right, so I'll take 12 here. I am going to...
You do not have a Trag. Fuck off, dude. Photon Strike Bouncer negates the effects, and they have to be activated on the field. No damage step, no Tragodia. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. This is all fine and good. Second main, I could Dark Flare pitching DMD to send what? I've already cycled through the important one, which is Eclipse Wyvern. So I think I just have to banish Dark Flare to summon DMD, trigger DMD. We'll summon Pulsar back. I mean, it's good. It's a lot of stuff. It's a negate. I don't know how realistic it is to think that we still win this. Your deck is so explosive. All right, back to you.
I don't know how explosive it is when I'm drawing to 1 card and or 2 cards rather, and you have a Strike Bouncer up. But we'll try. We'll draw. All right. How do we get out of this? Okay. I'm going to think how I don't die here. Strike Bouncer, you're drawing to 1 card. I don't really care about that. I'm going to set a card and set a card and throw it to you.
Stand by me. Oh, I know this deck plays Mirror Force. It also plays Torrential, so extending past this position is probably not to be advised. Not that we could anyway, because the DMD can only summon back dragons, and we don't have any. I'm not going to be able to kill you this turn unless you activate a monster effect, I Bouncer it, and then get in with dragon. So if I switch the Light Pulsar to defense and you Mirror Force, then it can summon back the DMD when it dies. So we'll do that. I'll go to combat. We'll go Bouncer into the set monster.
You knew I had this. It was Gen X controller.
Yeah, and DMD into the Trag. Okay, back to you.
I'm going to Abyss Sphere before your end phase.
Thinking here. I will Maxi.
Wow. Really? Fuck this card. All right, can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
I've committed at this point, so okay. So get your draw. We go to end phase. Sphere pops, Lind pops, trigger Lind. You get another draw here. You can't Strike Bouncer this because it's not on field.
Really? Okay, that's fine.
With Lind, I guess I get fucking Megalo. Like, Pike doesn't do anything because I have no cards in hand. So I guess Megalo's, like, big, but whatever. All right, I'm going to need a Miracle of a top deck here. And that is not it. Yeah, let's go to game 3, buddy.
Oh, my God, that was pain. That was actually
I'm going to have to watch that one back. I feel like, especially now that I know that Big Eye can't attack, maybe that probably wasn't the move. It's a tough call. I also made a huge egregious error in side decking that I realized after my last draw for turn there. So it's fine. It is how it is. I got one more shot here, so we'll go first and wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, good luck to you too, and whoa, you may not need it.
Okay, main 1. This hand looks pretty decent. I'm going to normal Undyne.
No response to this.
Send for cost. Would you like to negate my add of controller?
That's fine.
Okay, so we'll get controller. I'm going to trigger Dragoons, and I'm going to add a Megalo, because this card's a Sea Serpent for some reason. I will set 2 cards, and I will just throw it to you.
I'm going to start things off with an Allure.
Sure. This has been every game so far.
Wow. That's catastrophic. I'm going to normal summon Lila.
Lila's fine.
I'll declare the effect. I'll target...
Sure. It was my Gozen match.
Oh, Christ alive! What? Oh, no. Oh, God. Okay, I'll go to end phase and mill 3.
Before you attempt to leave end phase, I have Abyss Sphere. Okay, so I will get the Lind here. Go. Now in end phase, this all pops. You get to mill your 3.
Yeah, we'll go these 3.
All right, light in the dark. Trigger the Lind.
Sure.
I'm going to grab myself a Pike.
Yep.
I'm going to go Pike effect. I'm going to pitch a Pike. And I'm going to get myself I need to get a 3 exactly, which is awkward. I'll get another Undyne, I guess. Sure.
All right, back to you.
We'll draw. What can we do? I don't feel super good about this. I mean, just Lila pass. I don't know how many Trags you play. Gores is obviously something I need to worry about as well. All right, I'm gonna kick things off with I can do this. All right, let's run out another Undyne. Use the effect.
You're on 2 controller, right? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, which is strange, very strange. Later, they just played 1 because this card's a huge brick. But we'll dump the Dragoons.
Sure.
Trigger the Dragoons.
Yep. All good.
Let's add ourselves... I'm going to add Moulin Glacia.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I haven't seen this yet. I'm going to overlay these Undynes
Yeah, still with you.
for a Leviathan Dragon.
That's okay.
I'm going to detach for Leviathan.
That's your 5th. Uh-huh.
That is my 5th. Special Moulin.
All right, let's make it happen.
All right, let's hit Gore's Trag out of the hand, please.
Yeah, well, I'm glad about that one. Here, let me shuffle this bad boy again after this.
Okay. Ryko gone.
Okay, that is not as bad as it could have been, but still not ideal.
So we whiffed a bit, which sucks, but that's how it goes. All right, so I currently don't have lethal on board. You also still have your Lila as well. I have already normaled. Part of me just wants to play it a little bit conservative here, so I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to go to battle. Let's go Pike into the Lila. Try to go for 25.
No response.
28.
All right, after that attack, I will do nothing. I will not do anything. No Trag, no
Whoa.
Gores.
Okay, I will set 1 in that case, and I'm just chilling. Over to you.
Stand by me. Lila.
I guess I'll warning this. I guess I'd rather you just not have the monster.
Okay. BLS.
Yep, I was going to lose the monster anyway, or the back row anyway.
This is rough. Imagine opening a hand of Ryko, Lila. Okay, I'm going to go to combat here. We'll go Abyss Pike.
Take 14 off that.
And then the Moulin Glacia.
So I lose my next battle phase. Her Moulin Glacia's downside, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. All right, back to you.
All right, we'll draw. Go to main 1. I will... Ooh, that's actually pretty bad. Yuck. Okay, not thrilled about it, but I think I have to Dark Hole.
That sucks for you, and kind of for me, too.
I will set a card, and I will throw it to you.
Stand by main. Set 1 pass.
All right. Glad we're in the same league. I'll draw. Main 1. Okay. I think I know the play. It's a bit risky. I am going to go for it. I am going to normal summon Gen X controller.
We've all been there, folks.
I will flip summon Gen X controller.
We've all been there, folks?
I will reborn your BLS.
Oh, we have all been there, folks. Yup.
I will go to battle.
Yep.
I will attack.
Oh, God. So it's Ryko.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But does this matter?
Depending on what I mill, it could.
Okay.
I guess we're hitting the BLS, right? I'm sure not. Yeah.
Mill 'em.
Let's see what we got. Nope. No. But if this is Light Flare? 2800. No, not like this.
Oh, the controllers for the win. Let's go.
Man, that is pain. That is actual pain. Just could not get the darks in rotation.
Oh, I see.
The opener was 4 light monsters and BLS, and I was like, oh, good. This is gonna go well.
Yeah, my issue was I was bricked on a Megalo without an extra water, so I couldn't just get it out of my hand just to... Because I wanted to last turn at least set up for a sphere, just so that way like you couldn't kill me through that, plus like a set controller. But I didn't have a water. I don't think there was a way for me to get a water to my hand. without like discarding a water in the process. So there wasn't really like any way I could do that. And I kind of fucked myself there because that was my fault. I could have changed some of the plays that I did earlier to make that not be the case. I mean, that's Mermail, right? This deck really got to show off what it's able to do.
Yeah, that was a really good set. I'm glad that we were able to show off both these decks. Obviously, you know, Chaos Dragon, I think we saw, even in the game where I really popped off, is losing its teeth. I mean, this is a top 32 finish for the deck, is what I'm playing. It's not like it was still, you know, out here taking names and stuff. It still does have the capacity to pop off. Like, exactly Photon Strike Bouncer is kind of a big deal for the deck. All in all, like, big special summon large dragon monsters is kind of a deck building philosophy that stops being good just about now, right? And you have to understand, like, the Mermail Chaos Dragon matchup, this is interesting, but this is Mermail before all of the really good stuff that makes Mermail as powerful as it is in the coming weeks. And you have to understand, the other decks in this format could make Shockmaster. Like, we worked hard to curate an interesting game for Chaos Dragon, but it just as easily could have been, all right, like, I'll just activate Shockmaster, you lose. And
right.
That's what really kept this archetype and deck out of the scene in the capacity that it had to be. You know, it doesn't play a lot of back row, so you never really even have to make a decision with Shockmaster. It uses defensive options from the hand, Maxi, Valor, Gores, Tragodia, and all of those, of course, are stopped by the big boy. Against decks that can't put up that loop, it is kind of interesting and does have a lot of play, but can still get out aggroed against a competent archetype. And Mermail, even at release, did have Goons, which is a really good card.
Yeah, the Atlantean structure that came out about a month or two prior to the release of like Abyss Rising. So that sort of set the tone for this deck to have a lot of success now, because Mermail without the Atlanteans would obviously be a much different deck. And obviously, once Cosmo Blazer's released and we get Teus and we get some other support cards, it undergoes another evolution, right? Because then you have another just powerhouse of a consistency card in Teus that can just get your Atlanteans into the grave. You get to search cards with Teus, and that's also a 7 for your Megalo to help enable rank 7 plays. So it just only goes up from here for this deck. And so again, like you were saying too, you have to look at it in the context of the rest of the decks in this format. Inzektor was a consideration for us to play for Mermail, against Mermail rather, in this episode as well. But you know, Inzektor is essentially just the same deck, but you just play like one Hornet and one Dragonfly now because they're both limited. Everything else about the deck is essentially solved. Everyone's just like on 3 Call of the Haunted at this point. Agents is arguably the better Chaos deck now because it's not as bricky and you can still play the big bombs like your Chaos Sork, your BLS, your Dad and the like. But then you also just have more flexibility because you're playing just like a more consistent engine rather than like a more over-the-top engine. So that's why Agents sees a lot of success around this time as well. It's interesting, like, just seeing how like we have our format and then like one deck sort of just like shifts the paradigm of like where all the rest of the decks are positioned in the format. And we're probably going to be seeing that in the next episode as well, because if next episode, which I believe is the Cosmo Blazer episode, there is a deck that will be blazing to the top of competitive play, and Joseph might be piloting that one.
Top might be a bit of a misnomer, but yeah, I think we were all kind of you know, tired of me actually winning games, so I will now be losing the next several to Mermail, but I will say I will have some brothers in arms for this next one.
So guys, that's going to wrap it up for another episode. Let's go ahead and shout out the patrons as always. So big shout to Shout1317, Moto, Cameron Smith, Tim00x3, Ian Musa, Chaotic People, SJ Winchester, Part 2, Pony Stark, Dan the Man Hoban, MBT Play Medolce, Synchro Guy, Ole, Yusuf Asin05, Mystic Walk, I Ship MBT and CMO, Draconic Rockslide, Logan Thomas, Peter Gregory, Thomas Selson, Jordan Coons, Kelvin Ironblades, Imperious, Jesse True Orgasm, Brother Paul, Chris, So David Lou, Skyrose, Dylan Hunter, John Two Base, Extremely Vulgar Man, Brody Eastwood, Day Sir, Carlos DT, Flannel Daddy, Hornet, Give Me Speedroid or Give Me Death, Jonah Messenger, oh my god, guys, please read your cards, CC Gaming, thanks for the sleeves, Dad, Matthew Brady, Dyer the Egyptian Editor, Max Tom Russell, why read your cards when you can just click buttons, Ben Snatch Shield for Prague 2021, Helios 515, Paint French Girls like one of your MBTs, Black Acre, Say Gage Gang Engage 3 times fast, the entire state of Indiana, D's Cards, MBT Fans Gaming More Than COVID, Simping for Simo, Mark Jackson, Tyler H, Justice for Queen Tiramisu, and Simo's harem of sexy Yugi tubers. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we will see you next time.